let's talk a little USC recruiting. The Trojans, they currently have the number 2 ranked class in 2026, and this weekend they had a massive visit weekend. So we're going to break it down. Now, heading into the weekend, we all knew number 1 wide receiver Chris Henry Jr. was going to be there. But, Steve, we did not see Jonas Williams, the 4-star quarterback who is committed to Oregon, showing up at USC. We know it's significant. Tell us what it means.
Well, Lincoln Riley was out to see Jonas Williams right before he took his visit to USC this weekend. Obviously, he's committed to Oregon. But at this point in the process, talking to his dad, John, on Monday morning, just keeping our eyes open, looking at the best pathway for Jonas. Recruiting, it's an evolution, so to speak, and it's time to explore and see what destination and what university is truly best for him. And obviously, academics is a big deal in this process for Jonas Williams and USC, what they offer off the field academically, the resources that you have in a place like LA. They were very impressed, certainly what Lincoln Riley has done with his track record with quarterbacks, offenses, Heisman trophies, number 1 overall picks. That's exciting. Jonas Williams is USC's top target in 2026. Before you ask, Ryder Lyons is also a 2026 recruit on paper, but he's going to take a mission. So college programs are viewing him as a 2027 recruit. So USC obviously all in on Ryder Lyons, also all in on Jonas Williams. But the academics, the alumni, the resources in LA, Lincoln Riley's track record at the position, the way they're hitting it off, USC has a chance to flip Jonas Williams, and things are certainly trending up. Now, Oregon, they are still in regular communication led by Will Stein. They're keeping him abreast of all the things happening as they are also recruiting Jared Curtis. What's happening with their quarterback room could be fluid, with guys coming in, coming out, what's going to happen with Dante Moore. He'll be draft eligible after the season as well. So there's some moving parts there. Does Oregon take 1? Does Oregon take 2? But one thing we do know for sure is that Georgia and Ole Miss have recently offered Jonas Williams. USC got him on campus. Lincoln Riley was out there to see him. And the Trojans are a threat to flip the 4-star passer and top prospect from the state of Illinois.
One of the first kind of bubbles in the 2026 QB dominoes, Steve?
Well, obviously, Jared Curtis kind of started it, right? He was committed to Georgia, decommits, names Oregon his leader. Oregon has to recruit him, right? They have to see what's out there. Plus, again, Dante Moore could go pro after the season. Austin Novosad is in the room, and doing a good job as a backup quarterback. Where does he fit in moving forward? You have Achilles Smith Jr. Does Oregon try and take 2 this cycle to continue supplementing the depth? Can you take a Jonas Williams and a Jared Curtis at the same time? So those are all things that are kind of happening right now in the quarterback domino world. And you got other guys out there like Keyshawn Henderson, committed to Houston, but several schools swinging there, Auburn, LSU, Jake Fetty committed to Arizona State. LSU's involved there. So all kinds of things happening in the 2026 quarterback recruiting world right now.
Yeah, it seems quiet at the quarterback position, but if you just look a layer beneath the surface, there's some movement coming up. So we'll continue to follow it. Now, Chris Henry Jr., we knew the number 1 wide receiver in America was going to make this visit this weekend, but what does this visit mean for USC's recruitment of him?
I think Chris Henry Jr. is just continuing to go through his process and dot I's and cross T's and make sure he's making the right decision for him, which is Ohio State. He's committed to the Buckeyes. Saw him in January at the Battle 7v7 South Florida event. He said it's going to be tough to flip him from Ohio State with what they've done historically with receivers under Brian Hartline, the way they prepare them to be successful in the NFL. Because not only are these Ohio State receivers getting drafted high, they are playing at a high level in the NFL. They're some of the best wideouts in the league. And so that being prepared to go into your professional career is why he's locked in with Ohio State. Never mind the offense, the chance to make plays, play for a national championship. I think it's going to be tough to flip him from Ohio State. Oregon certainly trying and giving him a lot to think about. He was at Oregon 2 weeks ago. USC, LSU, some of the other places that he is keeping warm. But that's going to be a tough one for USC to flip. And I think people that spent time with him over the weekend feel that way as well.
All right, Steve, who else did USC make a big impression on over the weekend? Because there was a ton of guys out there.
Yeah. Where do you begin? I mean, you
Yeah.
start with the commits, right? USC is the number 2 class in the country. They have a chance to finish number 1, but you got to keep these blue chippers
Right.
in the fold. Number 2 linebacker Xavier Griffin, number 2 cornerback RJ Simmons, number 5 cornerback Brandon Lockhart. They all had fantastic visits to USC over the weekend. Deshaun Rideau, top running back in the state. I still like my on-3 RPM for USC there. Tom Topuai is committed to Oregon. USC is going to be a factor for him the whole way. Vance Spafford is an electric receiver for Mission Viejo. He is committed to Georgia. USC gets him on campus this weekend. Talked to a source that said he seems pretty happy here. So we'll see what happens. Trent Mosley's an on 300 receiver. His dad played football at Notre Dame. Notre Dame and USC are battling. He had a great visit. He is at the top of USC's board. He's another that I could certainly see ending up at USC. Devon Benjamin, the number 3 corner in the country, fits in with the other guys committed. He's kind of a close to the vest guy, but no question USC's in the top 2 or 3 for him as things stand now. Malik Brooks, if they're pushing for him, I think they land him on the defensive line. Edge rusher Samodi Kedianga, anytime he comes to USC's campus, he has a great experience. USC's in the top 2 or 3 for him with Notre Dame, Oregon, and some others. Same with linebacker Talanoa Ely. He is the number 3 linebacker in the country. That looks like it's shaping up to be USC and Oregon for Ely, but USC giving him a lot to think about.